Hey guys, how we doing? John Anthony, and welcome to a very special edition of Chair Shot Sports, where we are going to cover the 2024 WWE Draft with Raw and SmackDown featuring NXT. Thank you so much for joining us. Quick little snippet as far as before we get into this. I've gone online. I've seen a lot of other shows and people talking about the draft and the whole fantasy booking aspect of everything. This is our first time on YouTube doing our draft. Now, I appreciate the fact that your time is valuable, and I could sit here and probably make a 2.5 hour podcast and show of why I'm picking where I'm picking and what they're going to do and who they're going to feud and why they're going to feud and all that good stuff. Last time I checked, in the past 4, 5, 6 years I've watched the draft, when everyone comes out, whether it be JBL or Teddy Long or DX or whoever else or Road Dogg, and they make announcements, they don't tell you, hey, we just drafted Nia Jax over here, but let us tell you why we did it. That's not my job. My job is to predict the people going to where they need to go to, and if you're smart and you can read the breadcrumbs of where I put people, you'll see where I see everyone shaking out over the next 12 months until the next draft. Let me go over a couple of the rules with everybody. It seems that also, too, a lot of people that are putting things out these next 24 to 48 hours are doing a lot of weird championship moves. So there are rules this year, as opposed to years prior. Years prior, Raw and SmackDown have done this weird thing where one night the champion goes over here, and predictably and inevitably the champion comes over here the next night. Obviously, when that happens, it's predictable. We know what's going to happen. That's not really what the fans want. So this year, number one, the champions are locked. They are protected. They are safe. If you are a champion on your brand, you are not moving. You are being kept where you are. Except if you are one half of the women's tag champions. Those tag team championships are up for grabs, and they can and will be locked down this year in the draft. Night one starts on SmackDown. SmackDown gets the first pick. There's going to be 4 rounds, 16 picks. Then we move over to Raw on the Monday after. Raw will start. They will get the first pick starting on their show on Monday nights, and that'll be total 24 picks. A total of 40 draft picks will be made between single competitors and factions and tag teams as well. And the biggest thing about all of this is that the rosters will not lock until May 6th, 2024. And those of you that date sounds a little familiar, that's because on May 4th in France, Backlash will be taking place. So regardless of where people are drafted, where they go, they will stay on brand. If they're in title matches, if they're in rivalries, those things will finish up over in France with Backlash, with the rosters locking that next Raw on May 6th. So without further ado, don't want to keep it too long. I'm going to go through this like we would a regular draft. I'll go through the rounds, everyone's pick. We'll talk about it for a minute, and then we'll move on. All right, so awesome. To kick this off, let's talk about, if we're here for SmackDown, round one. The number one overall pick on Friday night is going to be going for Solo. Tama Tonga and Paul Heyman are going to be drafted to SmackDown, the new Bloodline. Now, there's a name that's ominously left out of that group. The new Bloodline is going to be drafted over to SmackDown. Here comes Adam Pearce. He has the number one pick for WWE Raw on Monday nights. Adam is going to take the man left out of that group. Roman Reigns is going to be the number one pick for Raw. When he does return, he'll be going over to the Red Brand on Monday nights. SmackDown has their second pick of the first round. They're going to be taking and retaining the rights of Braun Breaker, keeping him on Friday nights. And then Raw will come over the top, and they will be taking someone else from SmackDown, and they're going to be taking the Apex Predator, the RKO Specialist, Randy Orton. Will be moving over to Monday nights. That's round one. Round two, here we go. SmackDown has the first overall pick. SmackDown is going to be taking the Irresistible Force, Nia Jax, and adding her to their women's division. Raw has their pick of the second round. They're going to be taking Liv Morgan and retaining her on Monday nights. SmackDown will take the Alpha Academy and usher them over to the Blue Brand. And then Raw finishes up the second round with none other than the megastar, L.A. Knight. Yeah! L.A. Knight making his move over to the Red Brand. I think that's an awesome move, probably one of the better moves of the draft. LA Knight definitely can get his hands on a lot of new people over on Monday nights, and definitely have some fun over there on Mondays. With that being said, we go to the third round. SmackDown has their first pick of the round. SmackDown will go ahead and select Andrade on Friday nights, keep on the blue brand. Raw has their pick. They will retain the Architect, Seth freaking Rollins, will be staying on Monday nights when he does return. SmackDown has their second pick of the third round. They will be taking and keeping the phenomenal AJ Styles, keeping him on Friday nights on the blue brand. And then with the last pick in the third round, Raw will keep and take Zoe Stark, will be staying on the red brand. So it's a quick round. It's a quick show. It's only 2 hours. We still have some matches in between, some promos, some things here and there, probably some vignettes. SmackDown is going to make a splash in the fourth round with their pick in the last round of the draft night. SmackDown is going to be taking back the main event. Jey Uso is going to be heading back over to Friday Night SmackDown, the blue brand. If you haven't noticed, you haven't looked around, you haven't seen the pictures of the people that are in the draft pool, Jimmy Uso is very much not existent in either draft pool. So leave that for what it is down the road. Jay's going to be getting picked up by SmackDown, being brought back over. Raw, they want to be innovative. They want to stay fresh. They want to be young. Now's their time to strike. Adam Pearce is going to select from WWE NXT. Dijak is going to get the phone call and the call up to Monday nights on USA. Dijak from NXT is the last pick of Raw in the fourth round. SmackDown gets their pick. They're going to be taking Bianca Belair onto SmackDown. And then Raw with the final pick of the evening in the fourth round. Raw will be retaining the services of the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus. So overall, pretty much a lot of fireworks out the gate. I feel like round one, it's kind of what they do. Shock and awe, things to talk about, get everything trending on social media, especially on Twitter. I think you're going to see a lot of, like I said, a lot of tag teams, a lot of factions moving here and there. Makes a lot of sense. Factions, especially once they start to dissipate and kind of deteriorate. Once those people break off, they're able to go and do their own thing singles-wise. That's really good. That's vision-wise and just good of the overall picture as we move down the road toward the end of the year, the Rumble and all that good stuff until the 2025 WWE Draft. So with that being said, the weekend comes and goes. Here we are. It's Monday night. We're on night 2. We're checking out USA Network. We're watching WWE Raw. And here we go. The second day of the WWE Draft. So on this night, Raw picks first in their rounds. So with the first pick on night 2, WWE Raw selects the Judgment Day, keeping them on Monday nights. Now, again, this is a pick that I don't know if I should change, or I went back and forth about changing. Rhea Ripley, again, is not eligible for being drafted. When you look, when it's the Judgment Day, it's JD, it's Finn, it's Dominic, because obviously the champion's protected, so Damian Priest stays on Raw. Rhea is not included in this. I do believe there is a chance that Judgment Day does get moved to SmackDown. There's a lot of play there with things you can do. I think at this point, Judgment Day stays. They probably were going to be moved because the champions stay, right? So Rhea and Damian were left to Raw to their own devices. And Aldis comes over and he takes the rest of Judgment Day with him. But I think with everything with Rhea, kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing. So for now, Judgment Day stays on Raw. They do what they have to do until she comes back. And then is when you kind of start to see the deconstruction and the dissipation of the Judgment Day. So they're the first pick for Raw. SmackDown has their first pick of the night in round 1. SmackDown is going to go ahead and they're going to take Imperium. Now, it's not the Imperium you're thinking. Vinci is going to be staying on Raw, with him being kicked out of Imperium, essentially, this past night on Raw. So you're going to see Gunther and Kaiser move over to SmackDown in that form of Imperium, with Giovanni Vinci staying over on Raw. Raw has their second pick of the first round. They're going to go ahead and they're going to retain the Second City Saint, CM Punk, don't want him going to Friday nights. You're going to keep him on Raw. So when he returns from injury, he will be staying on the red brand. And SmackDown has their second pick of the first round, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to retain their number one. They're going to want to keep Kevin Owens on the blue brand. So a big round, a lot of splash changes. Imperium, I think, moving is good for that. Gunther has some more, a lot of other people to touch, a lot of other people to get involved with, some rivalries. Keep him fresh going to King of the Ring. In a couple weeks, we're going to have a King of the Ring special, talk about some of that once the brackets are released, and we'll break down the bracketology as far as that. So round 2 comes up. Raw has the first pick. With that pick, Raw's going to go ahead and going to take the Creed brothers on the red brand. SmackDown comes right back along with that, and they're going to go ahead and take the soon returning Braun Strowman onto the blue brand. I think Braun is going to be coming back. I don't know necessarily if he's going to be coming back and being part of the Wyatt Six. I do know when he does come back, they're going to have something solid for him. He's a Triple H guy. Paul has loved this man. I think they're finally going to get him a gimmick that works. So with the second pick of the second round, Raw is going to take Damage Control. Now with taking Damage Control, that effectively locks in the Women's Tag Team Championships over on Monday nights. And like I alluded to when we first started this, before we went through the night 1 and night 2, what I'm thinking is those titles are going to stay over on Raw. So effectively, Nick Aldis holds a tournament. Those titles become the World Women's Tag Team Championship. And then over on SmackDown, you're going to have the Women's WWE Tag Team Championships. With the tournament being held, with people you get from NXT, there'll be a supplemental draft, I'm sure, as well. Again, showcasing a lot of the women. It's a very deep roster at this point, especially including NXT. So yeah, Damage Control over to Raw. Those tag titles being locked in over there. New set of tag titles being introduced at SmackDown at some point after the draft. So then SmackDown gets their second pick of the second round. They're going to go ahead and lock in Naomi and keep her on Friday nights. It's good for her to be over there. There's a lot of rivalries. Makes a lot of sense for her being over there. What's going on with Bianca, what's going on with her, and what's going on with Jade as well. Round 3. Raw gets the first pick. Raw is going to go ahead and shake things up on night 2. They're going to take the LWO and take them over to Raw. Now, I think this is a good way to do this because LWO, obviously with LWO, Rey Mysterio comes with them. That's going to, again, lock up Dom and Rey. Again, going back to what I said in round 1, Judgment Day could also move over to SmackDown, and then you move LWO over to Raw, keeping those two away from each other, kind of waiting for that WrestleMania 41 matchup, where I think that's going to be Rey's retirement match, where you see kind of a passing of a mask and things like that, once eventually Dominic becomes a face. First pick of the third round for SmackDown is going to be the New Catch Republic, Big Strong Boy and Pete Dunne staying over on the blue brand. And then Raw taking over some more people over on their brand from the women's division of SmackDown. From Aldis, they're going to be taking over. Tiffany Stratton is going to be joining the red brand over on Monday nights. Again, great rivalries waiting for her over there, especially when some NXT people get called up, renewing some old rivalries from Tuesday nights. And then the last pick of the third round for SmackDown is going to be Chelsea Green being taken from Raw. I don't think either GM's happy about picking her, but you have to admit she's got the talent. She's entertaining. She's good in her matches. She's good at what she does. Eventually is championship material. So she will be moving her way over to Friday nights on the blue brand. Fourth round, here we go. Home stretch. We're almost there. Raw gets their first pick. Raw's going to go ahead and they're going to shake things up as well. They're going to go ahead and take the final testament off of SmackDown's hands and bring Karrion Kross, AOP, and company over to Monday nights. I think that's a good move for Karrion. Again, I keep saying it. These are strategic moves done by both shows, both networks. A lot of new people that get to touch each other in regards of matches, rivalries, things like that. SmackDown has their first pick, and they're going to start going deep into the developmental brand of NXT. SmackDown's first pick of the fourth round is going to be Blair Davenport. If you're not familiar, not aware, she is from the NXT UK women's division that came over when that got absorbed by NXT. A great talent, amazing athlete, great pickup for SmackDown. Obviously, Raw wanting to keep as much talent as they can on their brand on Monday nights. Raw's going to go ahead and retain Drew McIntyre and keep him on Monday nights. And not to be outdone, SmackDown still wanted to be fresh. Nick Aldis wanted to be entertaining, give the fans a future, and also want to keep them entertained. The Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, is going to be getting called up to the Blue Brand on Friday nights. So NXT round here for SmackDown. I think it needs to be done. These guys have been down there for a year and a half, 2+ years. Not that they're stale down there, but they've done everything they've had to do. Dragunov had an amazing NXT World Title run. Just recently dropped that to Trick Williams. We're going to talk about that in our next show when we talk about Spring Break in Night 1. Amazing match. I think Dragunov can do a lot of damage on the Friday Night brand. So very excited to see that happen. 2 more rounds left. 5th round, here we go. Raw has the first pick of the round. Raw is going to go ahead and they're going to take Bronson Reed, keeping him on Monday nights. SmackDown is going to take Pretty Deadly and also retain them in their tag team division as well. Raw, seeing SmackDown do a lot of work with NXT, doesn't want to be outdone. So Nick Pierce and Raw are going to go ahead and they're going to dig in. They're going to take Valkyria up from NXT. Again, another NXT UK talent. Again, had an amazing run as NXT Women's Champion down NXT on Tuesday nights. Should be amazing on Monday nights as well. And then the last pick of the 5th round for SmackDown is going to be DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and also Johnny Gargano making their way over to the Blue Brand on Friday nights. So with that being said, we're here. We've reached it. The 6th round of Monday night, the final round of the draft. Again, this seems a little fast. I'm not trying to rush it, anything like that. But at the end of the day, I just give you my picks. We're going to have post shows after SmackDown on Friday and after Monday night on Raw, kind of recapping everything that happened on Friday. And on Mondays, we'll talk about the entire draft as well. The supplemental draft, I probably will come out Tuesday and Wednesday on the bump. I'll probably talk a little bit about NXT as well. So with that being said, 6th round, final picks. The first pick of the 6th round on Raw is going to be the New Day. New Day is going to be heading over to Raw on the Red Brand on Monday nights. On SmackDown, SmackDown's going to go ahead and they're going to grab Shinsuke Nakamura. Things have gotten a little played out for him on Monday nights, so let's bring him over to Fridays on the Blue Brand. Let's get him some new blood. Have him match it up with some new rivalries, some new competition. The final pick of the 2024 draft in round 6 for Raw. Raw selects The Pride, the Street Profits, and Bobby Lashley heading over to Monday Night Raw on USA. And then the last pick, Mr. Irrelevant, but not so much when it comes to the WWE draft. The last pick for SmackDown in the 6th round, the 40th pick in the draft this year is going to be Lexis King from NXT. I think King has done an amazing job in NXT on Tuesday nights. He's honed his craft. A little green when he first came up and made the jump from AEW coming over to WWE. Definitely putting in the work. Definitely figuring out on the mic, in the ring, just doing what he had to do, just putting in the work, looking amazing night in and night out. So with that being said, that's our draft lineup. We're going to go ahead. We're going to talk about it. Like I said, Friday night after SmackDown, we'll do a huge recap Monday night after Raw Talk. We'll get on here. We'll go ahead and put it on YouTube for you guys. So if you haven't already, please check us out on YouTube. Chairshot Sports, all one word. Last I checked, 93 people who are watching these episodes and these shorts are not subscribed. Please give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Shoot us some comments. Give us a shot. Weekly content. We put out special edition podcasts and shows when big things are happening. WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, anything going on in the world of wrestling. Also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. All one word, Chairshot Sports. So with that being said, I'm John Anthony. Grab yourself a cold beverage. Grab yourself a seat and enjoy Friday and Monday night and enjoy the WWE 2024 WWE Draft.